Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are thrilled to have you today joining us in Live with Admissions. My name is Gabby Lippy. I'm the Director of Admission at St. Joseph Notre Dame High School and graduate of the SJ&D class of 2008. If you are joining us again for the second time, welcome back. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Our intention with this series is to be present and accessible by meeting you here weekly and allowing you to connect with key members of the SJ&D community. We want to make sure we're answering your questions today, so please feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen to ask any questions that we can address. I'd like to start off by introducing you to the other members of our admission and enrollment team, as we hope you will get to know each of us well and know that we are here to support you throughout the admission process. So Eileen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Graybeal. I am the Director of Enrollment Management. It's a new role here at this school that's focusing on admission and retention for this school. So I'm very excited about that. I'm starting my 7th year here. Both of my children graduated from this school. One's graduated from college and one is in college. And I look forward to, as we were saying throughout this season, meeting you where you are and being able to answer questions and kind of keep a casual conversation in regards to what we're doing today to make sure that we meet the needs of information that you have. So welcome.
And Mr. Obligacion.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Obligacion. I am new to the admissions team this year. This is my first year back, and I'm very excited to be back in a community with people that I have worked with and a school that I have gone to before. I graduated class of 2015, and I'm very excited to be back at St. Joe's. We also have a couple of our ALT students on the call with us, our ambassador leadership team, and they are here just to provide a student experience and a student perspective to all the things that we talk about, especially with regarding admission and regarding the school, because they're the ones living it and they definitely are the ones that tell it best. So we hope you have a super fun and engaging time today.
Awesome. So Mr. Obligacion is going to share with us the morning prayer. Each day, our campus ministry team leads us in prayer. So we're going to start off with that this morning.
Morning, SJ&D. We'll start in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear God, thank you for today, yesterday, and tomorrow. My family, my joys, my sorrows, for all that made me stronger, and who I am today. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Hello, everyone. Today's daily lift is to slow down and enjoy dinner with your family this evening.
Awesome. All right, so our discussion today centers around SJ&D athletics. And cheering on the pilots is one of my favorite parts about working at our school. And we are so grateful to have our athletic director, Mr. Carlos Arrriaga, here with us. He leads our sports program, leads our coaches and our young athletes, and his leadership and care for our students has been so apparent during this time. So as I ask Mr. Arrriaga to introduce himself to you, reminder to please ask questions through the Q&A feature that he will address today. So Mr. Arrriaga.
Thanks, Gabby. And welcome everyone for joining us for this webinar. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope everyone had a great weekend and were able to spend some time with their family and friends and just get out and enjoy the beautiful weather and then finally some fresh air. So thank you for joining us. Just wanted to share a little bit about myself. I've been in Catholic education now this is my 23rd year in Catholic education. I've served in many capacities. I've served as a teacher in physical education. I've taught health classes. I've also served as an athletic trainer for 8 years, and the past 15, now coming on 15 years in athletic administration. So in addition to that, I've also got a background in strength and conditioning, and that has also served me very well in my current role as understanding all of the components of athletic administration. I'm also an active member of the Catholic National Athletic Association, heading the organization around aligning your athletic program with your Catholic identity. And so that's something that I've been involved in quite frequently, and I'm really proud of that work. I think, that work is really critical, particularly for, Catholic schools and particularly athletic programs, and making sure that we have that alignment with our Catholic identity. Along with that, my faith is of utmost important to me, and so I carry that with me wherever I go, and it's and it's really just important for our programs to reflect that. Personally, I currently live in Oakland with my wife and 7-year-old son, and so we are in the midst of just navigating this new space with home distance learning and working from home as well. So we are just doing our very best during this time. Let's see, what else can I share with you? So just to share a little bit about what I do, I have to tell you, I absolutely love what I do. Athletics has played such a critical role in shaping who I am as a person, both as a youth and in high school, and into college. I've been a part of an athletic program, gosh, as long as I can remember. Youth to high school, college, and when I was in college, I had an opportunity to work as an athletic trainer and work very closely with many coaches at that level, and learned a lot about what it means to run successful programs, how to be a leader, how to be to just have impact on people. And so I carry those experiences with me, and it's really important that kids this day have that same type of experience, one that's really positive, one that's impactful, one that is connected, into something more that's just bigger than themselves. And so I think that is really, really critical, particularly now with when we've been living in a world that's been really pushed people to individualism. And I think at this point we really have to focus, recalibrate ourselves to really look out for each other and be more connected. And so I think this time, this pandemic has really, pushed us to that space. And so it's been really exciting in a lot of ways for me, in some ways, because we've been, having to get back to our kind of what grounds us. And so I share that with you today, and I look forward to any questions you might have.
Awesome. And as you can see, we are in great hands with Mr. Arrriaga leading us. So Carlos, one of the things that many 8th grade students tell us kind of what they're looking most forward to in high school. A lot of them are saying SJ&D athletics, participating in high school sports. So can you start off just by sharing a little bit about the SJ&D athletic program, how many students participate, just kind of what we're all about?
Yeah. Well, we have a comprehensive program that spans traditionally three seasons of sports: a fall season, a winter season, and a spring season. We offer during those seasons of sports, we offer 11 sports, and we offer everything from cross country to which is men and women's cross country, men and women's soccer, men and women's golf, men and women's tennis, volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball, swimming, and track and field. And so last year we had nearly or just over 70% of our student body participate. And one of the other things that I'm really, really proud of with our programs is that not only is it comprehensive, but it also provides students an opportunity to participate in multiple sports. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, because I think, by playing other sports, you really get a different experience of different people, different groups, and also just expand your network. And so last year we had, nearly 55 student athletes participate in multiple sports. And that's just remarkable. I don't know that you're going to find that in a lot of places. And I think that's one of the gifts that we offer here at the school. So it's been really exciting to see our kids take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, and for you as parents, encouraging freshmen to join a sport, I think, at least for me, it's a great way as a freshman student to kind of jump into a community, start meeting your peers, and really kind of feeling enmeshed in the school right off the bat. So in addition to clubs and other opportunities, I think sports is a great way to do that. How has the athletics department kind of been engaging our student athletes during this time of distance learning when, sports are not happening on campus right now?
Yeah, so that's been the biggest challenge so far, as everyone's been trying to figure out, okay, when are we going to be able to go back in person to have workouts together and gather as a team. And that's been the big challenge is, what do we do during this time? And I can tell you that our coaches have just been phenomenal in terms of just staying connected with our kids. And so when this all hit back in March of last year, many of our teams were conducting Zoom sessions online with their teams, and even we're doing, just check-ins, via email, text message, group text messaging, and just staying connected. I think that's been the most important thing during this time, is for everybody to stay connected and just know that they have a support system around them to get through this. But also, one of the other things some of the coaches have been doing is, sending out videos to the kids and saying, hey, take a look at this video, or they get on a Zoom call and maybe break down some film. Those are the types of things. So I think most important during this time is that I've been, telling coaches, we just have to stay connected with one another until we can get back to in person. And so that's been the most important thing. And so that's really led into kind of this year, what are we doing this year to kind of reimagine during this time as a whole athletic program. And so some of the things that we're going to be launching here soon is what's called our student athlete development seminar series program. And it's going to be a 6-session series for our student athletes. It's open to all student athletes, and we're going to offer 6 different topics. And those topics were generated from the students. And I think that's really important to know, is that, we want to really know what interests the students, because they have to have buy-in to whatever we're going to offer to them. And so we sent out a survey to our students saying, hey, here's a list of potential topics that we want to run with this series. What are you interested in? And so we had a tremendous response from kids, and they were really clear on what those topics were. And so we're going to offer that starting in October. And we're really, really excited about it. So myself, our athletic coordinator, Ms. DeMesa, and one of our coaches, Alexis Gray-Lawsons, we're going to be leading those series, 2 topics each. And we're really, really excited about it. So that's kind of a new thing that we're doing to engage.
That's great. I love combining leadership always in there. So that's awesome. So we have some questions coming in the Q&A from a student. I currently swim for my local swim team. Does your swim team compete with other school swim teams around the Bay Area? Is it a competitive swim team or more recreational?
So our swim team, it's just kind of fun of a broader answer here. So our teams in general, including swimming, compete in what's called the Bay Area Conference, which is a large conference comprised of primarily all independent private schools, in the Bay Area. And the Bay Area Conference is broken up into smaller groupings, and we're in what's called the BCL East. And and that includes teams in the area: Head Royce, Redwood Christian, Athenian, Valley Christian out in Dublin, a number of those schools. And so we compete with them. It spans from kids who are just starting to learn swimming to very competitive. So I think that's the one thing about swimming. I think it does lend itself for all levels, and I think that makes the experience is what's great, is because you have someone who are some student athletes who are very, very competitive and compete at a very high level, and you have some who are just starting out, and the way obviously swimming runs is you can run in different lanes depending on your competitiveness, and so we're able to span the whole gamut of those levels, and that's pretty common among all high school athletic programs. We do swim at Emma Hood, which is located near Alameda High School. We practice there, and then we compete in league meets, and that's in the springtime.
Awesome. Another question: is there an expectation for students to maintain a certain GPA to be involved in sports?
Yeah. State of California requires maintain a 2.0. Now that's minimum. Our students are generally get 3.0 and above. I mean, I think and high school athletes in general tend to do a lot better in school than those who are not involved. So we haven't had a lot of those challenges where kids are on that bubble, but I think being able to juggle all your academics and athletics is really really key, and it helps you to become more efficient with your time.
Yeah, and I would say add to that, our school really prioritizes the student athlete experience. So knowing that our academic life is just as important as the co-curricular. And I know a lot of teams will do kind of study halls together before practices and games. So there's kind of a group support system in that way as well. Assuming normal in-person school next year, what specific sports are available in the fall season?
This next year and then the following year.
Yes, exactly. So 2021, 2022.
So 2021. So fall sports comprise of cross country, men and women's cross country, men's soccer, women's golf, women's tennis, women's volleyball, and and also typically when we start our cheerleading, we start prepping for cheerleading, and cheerleading will run into the winter season, and we cheer during generally during the basketball games and events throughout the year.
Awesome. And there was a specific question actually about volleyball, women's volleyball. Just kind of an overview of the program, maybe what teams are available, and again, a distinction: is it a competitive or recreational team?
So we offer women's volleyball. We offer 2 levels of volleyball: a junior varsity team, which comprised of freshmen and sophomores, and then we have a varsity team, which is comprised of the best players. So I would say across the board that our programs are very competitive, and that's what we strive for. We strive to be very competitive. We compete in a league that is also very competitive. Traditionally us and Head Royce have been at the top of the league, and we traditionally make the sectional playoffs and advance through that. So it's very competitive. I'm very proud of our program. Our coach, Nikki Hagan, she's been our head coach for a number of years, and she's very well seasoned in it. And so I, feel really proud of what we offer and the competitiveness of our program.
Yeah, and some questions about how competitive it is to make a team at our school. So maybe as students are trying out, specifically for a boy, freshman boy with kind of recreational soccer experience, how likely would it be that he could potentially join a team in the fall?
So specifically on the soccer side, we've offered 2 levels of men's soccer, a junior varsity team and a varsity team. And so last year we had this, previous year we had, 2 levels, and we had about 20 or so on each team. So it does run the gamut of, some very competitive players to some who are recreational. So I'd say if as a recreational player, the junior varsity level would be the place that you'd play at. But I'd say that's true for all of our sports. We have sports that are very, that are cut sports, meaning that, we have tryouts and we have to cut, and we have sports that are all inclusive. And so I think it's important to know that there's a place for every student to participate. And as I shared earlier, we had 55, multi-sport athletes last year, which is just remarkable. And that says, that there is a place for every student, someone to participate in the sport, and 2 sports for that matter, at least 2 sports. And so I think that's one of the things that makes us unique, and that as a small school that students are able to participate in multiple sports, and we want that. I think that's really, really key, again, because it just helps to build that community and that family feel that we have on our campus by, crossing paths with other students and other groups on campus. And so that's really, really important. It's really a hallmark of our school.
Awesome. I think one of the unique things about our school is we kind of utilize all of Alameda for our facilities for sports. So can you describe our sporting facilities and how students travel back and forth to practices and games?
Sure. So yeah, Gabby, you're exactly right. We are very fortunate to have access to facilities in Alameda. The community of Alameda is so supportive of youth sports and athletics, and so we've been able to take advantage of that. So, for example, I'll just go through some of the sports. So, cross country, we pretty much use most of the island, for our kids to run around and get their trainings in, and we also use the College of Alameda. So, we use the field at the College of Alameda. We use the track, tennis courts, there's a baseball field there. So we get the benefit of going to that one location. So that's really, really nice. We've got a partnership with them that's been ongoing. And so we're really lucky to have those great facilities to have access. For golf, we go to Chuck Carica Golf Course. We also use Emma Hood for our swimming season. And then we use Alameda Point. So Alameda Point, we use their gymnasium for practices for volleyball and basketball when needed. And also there's a multi-field out at Alameda Point as well. Some of our women's soccer team has used Estuary Field, which is a new field out in that area as well. And softball uses Lydecker Field for practices and competitions. And so, like I said, we kind of go all over the place in Alameda. And so one of the things that we have been very fortunate to have is transportation, specifically to the College of Alameda. So at the end of a school day, we have a school bus. Kids will load up the bus who are going out to the College of Alameda for practices, and the bus will take them there, drop them off, and then pick them up at the conclusion of practice if they need to ride back to campus, where families can pick them up, or they can pick them up at the College of Alameda as well. So we're very fortunate to have that capability to get kids to those locations. I tell you, we are really, really fortunate to have the island and to be able to have access to those facilities. I know there are schools who are really challenged with, who don't have the access or have the support in their local rec departments to support it, and they're scrambling. And so I know that for sure, having done this long enough, that's definitely the case. The other thing I do want to add to that is, because of when we utilize those facilities, which typically happen right after school in general, we get kids to practice and get them off. And so what I really value in that is, kids get home to sit down and have dinner with the family at a reasonable hour. And I think that's really again, it speaks to family. And, I think what we've learned through this pandemic, being together with family and be able to connect, has been really, really valuable, and something that I know I've personally really enjoyed, and we carry that same, that our schedule is such where it allows us opportunities to continue. Again, it just ties right in with us being a tight-knit family, connected.
Absolutely. A question from the chat: if a student does not want to play on a competitive team, are there other options? So maybe our intramurals program, PE.
Yeah, PE is definitely a place to go, but we also do have our science teacher, Mr. Fong, runs a really fun intramural program at lunchtime. And so we've done basketball. I know he's done volleyball. We didn't get a chance to get too much into that this past spring, but during lunchtime, everyone goes into the gym. Those who are playing participate, and then everyone else is around watching, and it's quite a scene. So that's also a fun place to participate. But I'll say this, for someone who has not either participated in sports before or just at a non-competitive level, there's a place for you, and we want to be able to find that place for you. So I always tell students and families, have them come. Let's sit down and figure that out, what that would be, because I think being active this day and age is really, really key to our overall health. And staying on top of our keeping our minds right.
Mm-hmm. And just to expand upon the physical education, so every freshman takes PE for the full year. So half of it is PE, and then half of it is kind of health and wellness. And so the PE classes do cover different sports kind of within the curriculum of the year. So students will get to kind of casually play a variety of sports in PE as well. So do we have any on-campus coaches? And is that something that we prioritize in our school community?
So we currently have, I think around nine or 10 on-campus coaches in various capacities. Some head coaches, some assistant coaches, which is really, really valuable just to connecting the day-to-day of what's happening at school with those off-campus coaches. So it is important. It is a priority. It's always a goal of ours to have an on-campus coach to support our students. And that way they have a place just to go during the day to say, hey, I've got a question about X, or, and so that's really, really key for us. And I hope, that, whenever there's no opening, that we're able to get additional on-campus coach.
Do we have athletes that continue on and play in college?
We do. Gosh, over the last couple of years, we've had quite a few. I want to say upwards close to 20 over the last 2 years who have gone on to participate in college, which, for our size of school in comparison to other schools out there, that's as good as you're going to get it. I think this year we had a total of 10 kids who are going on. I think the previous year we had 9. So very much, those kids who have that ambition to go on to participate in college, we want to support them in that way, from the counseling department of finding that right fit to the coaches, who are tied in with, making sure that they're on that track. And so I think, again, we're a program that, covers the gamut, where you're very, very competitive to those who are just wanting to participate in a sport, and that's really what we're here to do.
Yeah, one of the things I think the size of our school lends itself to is that students are able to really kind of dive into multiple interests and really be involved in not only sports, but maybe also in this school play or on student leadership, in the band. Can you describe a little bit about the flexibility that, our athletic coaches and teams have in allowing students to participate in other aspects of the school?
Well, it's very much a part of our culture that's what we're about. So, when it comes time for when it's time for kids to go and participate in the play or practice for the play. You know, those conversations that have been had between coaches and Miss Rosie around how we're going to make that work. So it's very much a part of the culture of our school. And so that's been, you know, that's really wonderful that everyone supports each other in that way. The other thing that you didn't mention, Gabby, is we also have retreats. So the school has retreats, and we, you know, start of the year, we map out who, you know, which students are going on specific retreats and what sport they might be participating in. And so we really, you know, kind of map that out and see, you know, what where students might be missing, and so that coaches are aware and are supportive of that. But that's really a unique thing about our school that I just really appreciate just the collaboration among, you know, different departments and different areas of the school to provide, again, the students that full experience. So it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful that we have that.
Awesome. So one of my, as I mentioned in the beginning, one of my favorite things is going to games and cheering on the students. Just from your perspective as our athletic director, can you describe a little bit about kind of what our gym feels like on a game day, or just a little bit about the student spirit and support for the athletes?
I would say, you know, for our school, I feel our students are very much involved in supporting our kids. See, probably we had a Dig Pink game last year. I remember it was our annual volleyball event that we support breast cancer and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where we play a local school. Last year was Encinal, and the students came out and supported. They were chanting. They were, you know, stands were filled. There's just a community feel that, and I don't know how else to describe it other than you have to come experience it, you know. And the students do come out and support the kids, and as do our faculty and staff. That's the other thing. I know our faculty and staff love to come and attend the game, and so I think that's been really good. The other piece is we have our band. So our band comes and plays at many of our games throughout the year, and so that is a unique thing that we have that many schools do not have. And so I can recall last year we had a big basketball game, and after the game, you know, I had some opposing parents and students and coaches who came up to me and says, "Wow, that was an amazing environment. You know, that was really great that, you know, with your band there, just had a good feel to it." And so a lot of ways they're very envious of that feel and environment. And I could just tell they're like, you know, I don't know, we can't create that. And I says, well, this has just been a part of our culture for many years. And so that's always been really, just, it made me feel proud to be part of that and hear that envy of what we have in those games.
Absolutely.
I also think, sorry, Gabby, I just would think that one of the experiences, both as a parent and as someone who works at the school, when we're in any playoff games, the community goes together. We provide a bus for the students to go to any playoff game, wherever it might be. We have evening events where people carpool together to make sure that they see the playoff games wherever those might be located. So the community comes across in that way very strongly as well.
Yeah, I know one of the best parts of the game, Mr. Hammer, one of our theology teachers, has kind of a announcing background. So he'll announce the players at the beginning of the game. He also leads our flight crew, which is kind of a club or program of the school where students join with the intention of cheering on the student athletes at various sporting events. So that's kind of a fun piece as well. Another question from the chat: do many of your student athletes choose a rigorous academic program, such as the biomed studies that we have described in the past?
I mean, I would say we're a college preparatory school. So, and that's just, you know, by choosing our school, that's what you sign up for. And I think that kids do have to learn how to juggle those things, and they do, you know, and they do. You know, I think that, I think anytime you choose a school like of our academic rigor, that you're going to and participate in co-curricular programs, that that's part of the education, is learning how to manage and juggle all those things. And it's I know when kids leave our school, they're well prepared, so they come back and say, gosh, I'm so well prepared for all of the rigor that was going at the college, because SJ&D prepared me, and so that's part of it.
Awesome. And as kind of a final question here this morning, we appreciate your time, Carlos. What does athletics look like this year? We know that plans may change, but what are kind of the seasons going to look like in this current school year?
Well, let me just start and say, well, start right now, kind of what right now looks like. I think that's really, really key. This time has really, forced us to rethink how we're delivering athletics. And as I mentioned earlier, many of our coaches are doing Zoom gatherings for workouts, or providing them workout programs to do on their own. And so we've really had to kind of rethink, because we don't know when we're going to be back. So one of the things that we've been doing currently is, I guess shared earlier, we've started a student athlete development series, again, for all students, access for all students. The other thing that we've done is we're in the process of launching what's called Platform, which is a digital training platform on a mobile device. And so we're collecting all of our coaches' workouts that they traditionally run throughout the year, and putting them into this application where student athletes have access to it, 24/7. So like, let's say a student needs to get their workout in at a particular time, and their schedule is such where they have to do it, maybe in the evening versus at 3 o'clock. During this time, they have that flexibility to be able to do it and still have access to those coaches' workouts. So that's been something new, and it's something that we're going to be able to carry on beyond this COVID time. And so that's really exciting. And then the third thing that we're doing is we're reinstituting what's called our Student Athlete Leadership Development Team, which is going to be comprised of representatives of all of our sports programs at the varsity level. And those will be leaders who will be part of a leadership development curriculum specifically for those individuals. And then those individuals will be responsible for, communicating with their teams, and also circling back with those lower level programs, and kind of being mentors to them. So that's kind of what we're doing immediately. And then Gabby, you were asking, the question you're asking about, what is it going to look like?
Right. So what are the seasons look like in this
Yes.
year?
Okay. Yeah. So right now the fall season, what's defined as the fall season, is dated to start on December 14th, which would be cross country, men and women's volleyball, and possibly soccer might be moved in that time. Yeah. So waiting on that. And then everything else is getting moved into this, what's termed as the spring season. So 2-season model this year, and that's going to start, some will start in February, some will start in March. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it all unfolds, because there's going to be a major impact in the springtime with all of the sports going on at the same time. And one of the things, I know there's been a lot of athletic directors in our area who've just been kind of pulling their hair out, kind of figuring out how we're going to manage all of these sports at once. And I feel like, we'll, as I've been saying, hey, our coaches are going to work with each other, and to make this all work for the students, and do our very best to provide them that full experience, during that time. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're just trying to in the short term, just trying to stay connected with each other, and really just pushing that connectedness with our students, and to prepare for the start of the year when we can.
Great. Well, Carlos, really appreciate both your leadership this year and always, and your time today. We really appreciate it, and thank you for answering our questions.
Yeah, and thank you to all those who are out there for today's webinar. If you do have, specific questions related to, that maybe you just think about another time, I'm always available, via email, or you can can leave a message. I'll be happy to answer any of those, over the time. So thank you.
Great. So we're going to now move into talking with some of our students. So Eileen is going to lead us in that discussion.
Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Carlos, as well. So in our experience in admission, both Ms. Lippy and myself, what we notice and what we know is that parents love to hear from students, and they love to hear the student perspective on just a day in the life of school. So we have a group called the Ambassador Leadership Team. Ms. Lippy and I and Mr. Bogossian run that group. It's about 75 students within the school. And our kind of partnership with them is for them to share their experiences and for us to give them opportunity to do that, and also to public speak and learn the skills of public speaking. Before I'm going to introduce them and have some questions for them, we would love to just remind you that you can please put any questions in the Q&A that you would like, and we will make sure that those questions are answered by the students. So we have today Mary Lasanti, Bridget Redmond, and Tess Rogers. And I'm going to ask each one of them to just briefly introduce themselves, what grade they're in, and let's just say one reason why you chose St. Joe's. Why don't we start with Mary?
Hi, my name's Mary. I'm a senior, and I would say that the main reason that I chose St. Joe's was the community and how friendly everyone here is.
Thank you. Tess?
Hi, I'm Tess. I'm a senior also, and I chose St. Joe's for the small class sizes.
Great. And Bridget?
Hi, I'm Bridget. I'm a senior, and I chose SJND for pretty much the same reasons that Tess and Mary did. The smaller size of the school made it easier to have more of a relationship or build like a foundation with teachers and classmates, and you just get a sense of community, which I really liked.
Thank you. And I will tell you, having these three ladies on the Ambassador Leadership Team, I've seen huge growth and comfort with sharing their expressions about what they feel in the school and their experiences, but also their ability to kind of articulate what matters to them. So I'm going to go ahead and ask a few questions. And again, parents, please feel free to pop anything into the Q&A or chat, and we can make sure that they're asked. And I'll start with Tess. I'm going to ask you a question. Was it hard for you to decide which high school you wanted to go to? And if so, what was the difficult part?
I would say it definitely was hard for me. I have an older brother who attended Alameda High, and I have gone to public school my whole life before high school. So deciding between going to the bigger public school and St. Joe's was definitely hard for me. But yeah, like I said before, the class sizes, I'm taking 2 classes this year, and I have less than 10 kids in both of those classes. So it's really nice, and I'm very happy with my decision.
Perfect. Thank you. Mary or Bridget, do you want to share if it was a difficult decision for you, and if so, what was that challenge?
I guess
Either
I
one
could
of you.
share
Go ahead, Mary.
sort of the flip side of Tess's experience, which is that I went to a small Catholic K-8 school from kindergarten up. So St. Joe's kind of seemed like more of a natural transition in. So while I definitely looked at a few other schools and considered options, it felt like St. Joe's was a nice transition from that school, which I also really liked.
Great. Thank you. Bridget, what was a challenge you faced when you were starting high school? And have you learned anything new about yourself in that journey?
Yeah, I think especially as a freshman, I think one of the hardest things is getting used to the new schedule and going back and forth and having a bunch of different teachers and getting used to each teacher has their own individual teaching style and the way they like you to do things. And I think I grew in terms of being able to communicate with teachers and speak up for myself and what I needed from class and I think I definitely grew with being able to communicate clearly with them and also being able to just manage my time.
That's great. Thank you. How about Mary or Tess, that same question? What was your biggest transition challenge and did you learn something new about yourself?
I can go. I think my biggest transition was, like Bridget said, having to manage my time. I also do dance outside of school, and having those 2 hours every day doing dance, it was hard for me to figure out time to do homework. And if you had to come after school for like an ALT event or anything like that, it was definitely hard. And I definitely have the hang of it now, but it was really hard at the start.
Right, it's an adjustment. It gets you ready for college as well. Mary, do you have any advice for parents who are selecting a high school fit for their child? So obviously not from the parent perspective, from the student perspective, if your parents are helping make the decision for you and what school to go to, any advice that was helpful for your parents or for you to have had considered about your choice?
I guess just considering what's a good fit. Obviously visiting was nice, but like attending Zoom sessions like these, you can kind of get a sense for the feeling of the school, and how you think that you would kind of not like fit in there, but like if it's the right fit for you, what kind of things you value in a school and how that lines up, I guess.
Perfect. How about you, Bridget? Do you have a thought on that as well?
Yeah, I think selecting a school for the individual student, like Mary said, values. I think every school has a different, some schools have a bigger sports program, or like our school is a college preparatory school. I think what the student is interested in, goals that they might have for themselves, are definitely key into choosing a school.
Perfect. Okay, we have a question in the Q&A. Coming from a small school, are there any special events that help newer kids to meet other new freshmen, other than meeting them in their classroom? And any of you are welcome to speak about that, and I'll speak about that in the end.
I can kind of speak about that, which is, I would say that yes, there's definitely lots of events that help you to meet other students. One thing that we have is our link crew. And so each link leader gets a group of freshmen coming in. We have an orientation day before the start of school, and you're broken into groups with people you might not have gone to elementary school or middle school with. And you spend a whole day with them doing lots of like fun team building kind of activities, getting to know the school, and kind of meet more people before the start of school than you might have already known. And you meet with those people for lunch a couple days a week, or a couple weeks for a month or two, the start of school also. So it helps you to kind of continue building relationships with other people.
Great. We have a full-time dean of students and a director of student life, as well as a program called Link Crew, as Mary mentioned, which is all about supporting freshmen. So the goal is to help freshmen acclimate both socially, in the classroom. The dean of students is observant to see if there's a student that comes to the school that may be struggling. About 60% of the students that go to our school are from Alameda, 40% are not on average. And one of the questions that came up in the chat was the K-8 school adjacent to SJND probably sends many of its graduates to St. Joseph's. What is the social experience of a freshman coming into St. Joseph from outside of Alameda? So we do have St. Joseph Elementary School next door to us. They go through the same process as any applicant. Just because they're a student next door, that doesn't guarantee them a spot in our school. So they still have to go through the application process, and they go through the interview process like everyone else. We have a 40% of our students who don't live in Alameda, and in many cases may come to a school where they don't know anyone. It's a very big focus of our school to help get to know each other. It's also a focus for students who are coming from public to private, or who are coming from charter to private, where it's a new environment. As we mentioned, it's a college preparatory high school, and so they may not be used to wearing uniforms. They may have other kind of adjustments that they need to go through, and we spend a tremendous amount of time in doing that. Tess, I'm going to direct to you a part of that question in when you came from public school to private. How was that social transition for you, and what did the school do that was helpful?
Yeah, being from Alameda, I knew already a lot of people that were going to St. Joe's, but I did completely have to switch my friend group. I would say that the school did a great job of encouraging freshmen like me to go to the school dances, and we also have like the freshman mixer, and all of those things are really helpful to finding new people and making your little social circle.
Right. The freshman class right now during this COVID situation, we've done several, we have a pod group, which is about 14 students in individual pods, where it's more of a social focus that our student life program is running. So it allows students to get to know each other. There's also, we've had some parent connection meetings. We've had some phone calls from parents to our new incoming freshman families to help them acclimate during this challenging time. And so for the students, I had a parent give me some feedback about the pod, that she said she was so excited because her son, she had heard him laughing and really having a good time. And so it becomes a very humble time, but it also becomes a really positive time for the students to be able to engage with each other. So for Tess and Bridget and Mary, I'm just checking, I don't see any additional questions. Is there any last just recommendation you have in regards to what you love about St. Joe's and why you think it might be a good experience for a family?
I can go. I think along with the academics and all of our programs, I think we have a lot of extracurriculars and things that help students. It like rounds out the whole your education. So I think we have a bunch of clubs. So in terms of like freshmen and socialization, I think especially like with different grades and getting comfortable with in clubs, you'll find like a freshman talking with a senior and becoming close friends, things like that, because you share common interests. So things like clubs or ALT or Link Crew or CLTs or leadership teams and things like that, I think really add to the overall experience.
Great. Thank you. How about Tess or Mary?
I just want to say, like, the teachers, I think, have been very helpful, and I'm sure they will continue to be, especially with distance learning. You can really feel their support, and, you know, they want to see you succeed, and that's a really great thing about St. Joe's.
Thank you. Mary?
Kind of playing off both of those things about the size and the teachers, I would say that our size is one really positive thing, whereas we're big enough to have lots of opportunities for you to get involved in whatever you're interested in. I don't think that you'll find yourself feeling like you're missing out on any school experience at all. And actually, like the contrary, you can really be involved in both sports and the school play and that kind of thing. So it goes along with, you can always be reaching out to your teachers, you know them well, going to their office hours, that kind of thing. And they're willing to work with you on extracurriculars, getting you to be sure that you can participate in all the different groups that you want to.
Perfect. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mary and Tess and Bridget, and thank you, parents, for the questions. And we will now be turning this over to Ms. Lippy.
Yeah, so just in these last few minutes, we're going to talk to you about some admissions specific opportunities. So Mr. Obligacion is going to start us off with our upcoming events.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Libby. As the slide that I brought up says, we have a few upcoming admissions events over the next couple of weeks. You can see we have our virtual visits. These are open to any students who are interested in getting a specific experience or a little glimpse into what a day in the life of being an SJND is like right now. We have a few coming up, one this Thursday, as well as October 6th, and those are both accessible to register from our SJND website. We also have some information sessions coming up. These are themed information sessions that are broken down to give you a better idea of the academic program for specific departments. Our first one is on the 30th of September, and that is focusing on humanities. So we have English, social studies, and theology. We also have a parent information night coming up in early October, which is led by our SJND parent ambassadors to kind of empower those people who work with us, those parents who work with us in admissions, to give some information and provide some perspective from that as well. And we also have a STEM-focused information session later in October, focusing on our science, math, and engineering programs. And of course, all of this leads up to open house on Sunday, October 25th. Of course, this is going to be a virtual experience, but we are really trying to bring the SJND experience to the people when we can't bring those people to SJND. So we're really excited for these upcoming admission events. And if you have any questions about any of them, you can feel free to reach out to us.
Awesome. And then moving into our application timeline, just some quick reminders. Our application is live on our website, and we've been having lots of students get an early start on that, which has been great. So just a reminder that our early bird deadline is December 4th for a reduced application fee, and our final deadline is January 7th. Once you submit an application, you'll have access to a parent portal, which is a checklist that takes you through step-by-step of the application process. On January 9th, students will take the high school placement test, most likely online with a proctored experience. In January, students will sign up for a family interview, and that calendar will become available in the parent portal in January. It's an opportunity for students and a parent or guardian to connect with one of our faculty members and have a conversation, both allowing us at SJND to get to know your family better, but also allowing you to ask questions of us. In February, you will submit transcripts to our school and request online recommendations from the principal, English, and math teachers. And then finally in March will be our admissions notification. So please know that anyone can set up a meeting with myself, with Eileen, or with Sean to get questions answered or just have a kind of more personal conversation. A question in the Q&A: is there a registration date yet for the January 9th HSPT? That's a great question. The registration form for that is currently closed, so thank you for asking that. We are meeting regularly as a diocese, so the Diocese of Oakland, as well as all of the Catholic high schools here, to talk about the best way to proctor and to offer the high school placement test. So I'm hoping that will be available soon, but we'll make sure to communicate that out when that form becomes live for families to register. So, you know, kind of any deadlines, we always make sure to communicate so that everyone is aware, so you won't be missing out on anything. Alrighty, well, thank you all for joining us. We will be sharing the recorded version of this presentation to those who registered and attended today. And we appreciate you. And as always, please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.